Have you ever felt that there is something more between you, something that goes beyond words, but for some reason, has never been said? Something that your heart has always known, but your mind has tried to silence? Today, your guiding angel is here to reveal the truth that you have always felt, but have never been able to fully understand. There is a version of your person about the love story between you. A version that needs to be heard, understood, and lived. If you have come this far, it is not by chance. It is time to discover what truly connects you two, and how this connection can change everything. Stay with me, because this message may be exactly what you need to hear. From the beginning, it was clear that there was something different between the two of you. Even with a quieter and more reserved personality, this person could not hide the interest that arose as soon as they met you. Something inside them was instantly drawn to you, a genuine and deep curiosity that was awakened right away. They realized that there was something special in this encounter, something that made their heart beat a little faster, and that brought to mind thoughts that had never been so frequent. The days passed, and this person found themselves increasingly involved with the thought of you. It was not just a fleeting thought, but something that repeated itself every moment of the day. They thought of you upon waking up, during their daily activities, and especially at night, when their mind was calmer and their thoughts more intense. It was as if suddenly, their life had gained a new perspective, and that perspective was you. The affection and admiration only grew. With each new conversation, each meeting, each exchange of glances, they felt that they were uncovering more about you and at the same time, discovering more about themselves. They considered you an amazing person, someone luck had allowed them to meet. And this feeling of gratitude for having you in their life only reinforced the idea that something much larger was growing between you two. This special connection, which seemed to have been planted at the very first moment, quickly blossomed. It was as if something within her was being carefully nurtured, with each new thought and feeling that arose. The love and admiration for you intensified each day, creating a bond that grew stronger and more genuine. She felt like she was building something that gradually became indispensable in her life. It wasn't just a matter of spending time thinking about you, it was about feeling like she had found someone with whom she could build something truly meaningful. Your presence in her life became increasingly essential, and she couldn't imagine a future without this connection. There was a growing certainty that something extraordinary was happening, something that needed to be nurtured with care and affection, as it was too precious to be neglected. Each day, she found herself more involved, more certain that this relationship was special, unique. The happiness she felt when she was with you became almost tangible, a feeling that filled her heart and gave meaning to everything. And so she longed for more moments by your side, with the conviction that this story still had a lot to offer, full of love, affection, and a complicity that continued to grow. Suddenly, you found yourself plunged into a confusion that you could not have foreseen. Everything was going so well, you seemed to be in tune, the conversations were constant, full of energy, and there was a connection that seemed promising. Every word exchanged, every encounter, brought a sense of comfort and a delightful expectation for the next moment together. It was almost as if you had found someone with whom to share meaningful moments, someone who understood you and made each interaction worthwhile. But then, something changed. And it changed so suddenly that you barely had time to process. The attention, the care, that human warmth you felt from the other side, simply disappeared. Suddenly, the presence that was once strong and engaging became cold and distant. The person who used to be so present, so interested, began to pull away. And this distancing was quick, almost imperceptible at first, but so impactful that it left you wondering where you went wrong, what happened for things to change so drastically. Those daily conversations, which were a high point in your day, became scarce. What was once a natural and fluid communication, now seemed forced, sporadic, almost as if the interest had completely dissipated. What was once a pleasant routine, a habit that brought joy, suddenly became something rare, and when it did happen, it seemed like the person was just fulfilling an obligation, without the same enthusiasm as before. This change, so abrupt and unexplained, left you with a void, a sense of loss that is hard to describe. It's as if all the positive energy that existed between you was sucked out of the room, leaving only silence and distance. And it's impossible not to feel affected by that. That feeling of connection which was growing, now seems like just a distant memory, almost as if it had never been real. This person, throughout life, accumulated deep wounds that shaped the way they relate to the world. They carry within themselves a mix of emotions that keep them in a constant state of alert, especially when things seem to be going well. It's as if happiness and success are, for them, a trap waiting to snap shut. There's a latent fear that when everything starts to go right, something terrible is about to happen, an experience they've lived through so many times that it's become almost instinctive. This fear is not rational, it's visceral. He comes from the trauma of abandonment, from losses that were not properly healed, and that still haunt her. The idea of reliving this pain is so terrifying that often she prefers to anticipate the suffering. She sabotages herself, distances herself from good things, from the people she loves, because she believes, deep down, that it will protect her from the inevitable pain that would come sooner or later. It is a form of control in a world that, to her, always seems on the brink of collapse. What you need to understand, and this is crucial, is that this attitude has nothing to do with you or with what you have together. It is not a lack of love or appreciation for the relationship. On the contrary, it is the fear of losing something so precious that makes her act this way. This behavior is a reflection of the scars she still carries, of the lessons life taught her in a cruel way. She learned, often unconsciously, that everything that is too good has a price, and that price is suffering. So when she withdraws, when it seems like she is sabotaging what you have, it is because inside her there is a voice that says that happiness does not last, that love is not eternal, and that it is better to step back before everything falls apart. This self-protection movement is a way of trying to avoid greater pain, a pain that has already been felt and still reverberates in her soul. It is important that you see this with compassion, that you understand that these attitudes are not a reflection of you, but of her wounds. She is in a constant battle with herself, trying to balance the desire to be happy with the fear of suffering again. And this fight, unfortunately, makes her act in ways that may seem inexplicable or even painful to those around her. She was living a moment of pure joy, feeling a genuine happiness whenever she was by your side. Every shared moment made her see in you an extraordinarily fun person, someone whose presence undeniably brightened the room. In your eyes, you were someone special, someone who, with your kindness, deeply touched your heart. The energy you conveyed was contagious, and the kindness present in each of your gestures only strengthened this image of you as an incredible person. She felt, with all possible intensity, that things between you were flowing naturally and with a lightness that made her believe they were on the right path. It was then that she caught herself thinking, wow, this is really moving forward. It's happening, and I feel so good, so light, so happy about it. I love how we communicate, how there is this harmony, this deep connection between us. It's as if we were souls that recognized each other in some way. However, amidst all this happiness, a different feeling began to emerge. A subtle fear that grew gradually, causing her to pause and reflect. This fear whispered to her, "My God, everything is going so well, but what if suddenly, this person ends up breaking my heart? Am I ready for that? Is all this happiness real, or is it too good to be true? Things are falling into place so perfectly, but could it all come crashing down for that very reason? Am I going to end up getting hurt? Maybe I should take it slower before something goes wrong. I don't want to suffer, I'm afraid." She felt this whirlwind of emotions, this mix of joy and apprehension. The fear that something so beautiful could, suddenly, slip through her fingers. The apprehension that this deep connection she felt could unexpectedly break. And it was this fear that made her hesitate, that made her wonder if she should continue to surrender with such intensity, or if it would be safer to protect herself before something she feared, although it hadn't happened yet, happened. She was torn between continuing to allow herself to experience that full happiness or starting to build barriers to protect herself, avoiding possible suffering. She knew that by surrendering, she was risking getting hurt, but she also knew that by not surrendering, she could be missing out on something very special. In this dilemma, she felt the need to find a balance, to move forward without letting fear dominate her actions, but also without ignoring the warning signs that her fearful heart kept sending. She acted that way because she was completely lost in a sea of indecisions. The truth is that she carried such an intense internal conflict that it seemed like every thought was a minefield, ready to explode at any moment. It was as if, instead of having control over her own life, she was at the mercy of a storm of emotions that left her feeling unsure even about who she really was. Doubt surrounded her from all sides, anxieties that haunted her day and night, and amidst this chaos, she wondered if she would ever find peace within herself. "I need space, I need time," was what she repeated to herself, in an almost desperate attempt to find some sort of clarity. The insecurity was so strong that it seemed to suffocate her, and what many could see as a simple decision, for her was a gigantic weight, a reflection of everything she still needed to resolve within herself. These feelings did not come out of nowhere. They have deep roots, dating back to painful experiences from her childhood. Every trauma, every unhealed wound, built a barrier that made her see the world with eyes full of fear and distrust. She woke up every day feeling that the weight of these emotions was almost unbearable, as if she were carrying a backpack full of stones that only grew heavier with time. Nevertheless, even after having distanced herself, you continued to be there, present in her thoughts, in her heart, in a way she couldn't explain. It wasn't just a passing memory. It was a constant presence that, no matter how hard she tried to ignore, she couldn't. There was a conflict within her. The desire to be close to you battled against the need to protect herself from more pain. She thought of you more often than she would like to admit, and this internal battle left her even more confused and lost. The truth is that, at that moment, she felt she had no other choice but to pull away. Everything felt too heavy, and every decision was like another stone thrown on top of a mountain already on the verge of collapsing. The fear she felt, fueled by her past traumas, consumed every piece of her energy, until she believed that the only way out was to take a step back. But even so, you still occupied her thoughts, a proof that, even from a distance, you continued to be an important part of her life. Now she is in a moment of extreme fragility, where confusion and pain seem to have taken over everything. Every choice, every move, is a battle between the love she still feels for you and the need to find some kind of peace amidst so much turmoil. The distance, for her, was not an easy solution, but rather a desperate attempt to ease the storm that had formed within her. And even with this distancing, her heart still insists on thinking of you. It is a constant struggle between fear and love, and with each passing day, she tries to understand and overcome the layers of insecurity that prevent her from being happy by your side. She distanced herself not because she wanted to, but because she felt she needed to, and that did not diminish her feelings for you. In fact, they are still there, as strong as before, only buried under a mountain of fear and uncertainties that she is trying, little by little, to overcome. She was going through a tough time and naturally sought support from those around her. She turned to friends for advice, but what she received was something that, at first glance, seemed like an expression of freedom. "Oh, do whatever you want." However, what is important to realize here is that these words, despite seeming light and carefree, conceal a lack of depth and empathy that she so desperately needed. Her friends were not exactly the best influence for her at that moment, as they were unwilling to delve into the deeper issues that were affecting her heart. When she tried to talk about her feelings, about the doubts that tormented her, and about what truly mattered to her, her friends did not ask questions that could help her reflect more deeply. They were not interested in understanding how she truly felt or in exploring the roots of her sorrows. Instead, they offered shallow responses like, "Oh, do whatever you want, there are plenty of fish in the sea." These words, despite being said with the intention of reassuring her, only reinforced the feeling that she was alone in her emotional journey, without the necessary support to make more conscious and thoughtful decisions. There is a well-known saying that goes, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." And in this context, it is clear that the company she had around her was not the most suitable to help her find the answers she sought. Yes, her friends were not, indeed, the best influences she could have at this crucial moment in her life. She cared a lot about you, her feelings were intense and genuine. However, something inside her changed, and she began to drift away, even though it did not mean she had stopped thinking about you. In fact, your thoughts continued to be focused on you, but there was a mixture of confusing emotions that made her question the pace at which things were happening. She felt that everything was moving too fast and that she needed to make a decision about how she wanted to proceed. During this period of reflection, she sought support from friends she needed to clarify her thoughts and better understand her own feelings. However, when she opened her heart, she realized that her friends were not prepared to offer the kind of emotional support she needed. They did not show themselves to be truly supportive or interested in helping her explore her emotions in a deep and careful way. And because of that, she ended up making the difficult decision to distance herself, even while still thinking a lot about you. She felt she was alone in her internal struggle, with no one to share her doubts and anxieties with in a meaningful way. And so the influence of friends, which should be a cornerstone in moments like this, ended up being a factor that contributed to her withdrawal. This shows how essential it is to be surrounded by people who truly care, who are willing to listen to us and help us understand our feelings in times of uncertainty. After all, those are the people who can make all the difference in how we face our emotional challenges and the quality of the decisions we make throughout life. Because of this situation, she made an important decision in her life, choosing to move forward, determined to discover what the future holds for her. However, even with this choice to move on, there are unresolved issues between you that are still lingering. Despite apparently closing the door to the past and forging a new path, the truth is that her thoughts are still very much connected to you. She is constantly thinking about what happened, revisiting the moments you shared. Inside her heart, there is still a strong desire to go back, to try one more time, to recover what you had. She wants a new chance, an opportunity to relive everything again, and deep down, it's just a matter of time until she finds the necessary strength to return and try again. The feeling she has for you is still very present, almost palpable, and this story that seems to have been left behind still lives intensely in her mind and heart. She hasn't given up on you, and her return may happen at any moment. What she feels is real, and the desire to start over is something that keeps growing inside her. This story between you is not over. What is to come may surprise you. The message I want you to deeply absorb is that, when this person returns to your life, it will be you who will have the power in your hands. The decision of which path to take will be yours, and this choice must be made with all the care and affection you deserve. I want you to never forget who you are, an extraordinary person, full of light and deserving to be beside someone who is willing to walk together, hand in hand, towards a future built on partnership and true love. The options are always in front of you, and you have the freedom to choose what is best for your heart and your life. When this person comes back, look inside yourself and ask what you really want. Make this decision based on what makes you feel at peace, on what feeds your soul and truly makes you smile. Don't let yourself be carried away by the urgency of the moment, or by others' expectations. What matters is your well-being, your genuine happiness. As for the future, you can believe that this person will reconnect with you. She is going through an intense process of inner healing, and that will lead her to realize that the connection between you is something rare and precious. She will understand that what you have is special, something that cannot be found anywhere or with anyone. And that is exactly why things will start to change. Even though this person is currently facing difficulties and carries a certain dissatisfaction, it's just a phase. This discomfort has been preventing her from being completely open and honest, but know that this is a necessary process for her growth. Throughout this journey of self-discovery, she will find her way back to you, with a lighter heart, with more clarity about the feelings she has and the fears she needed to overcome. When that happens, she will be ready to share everything with you, from the deepest emotions to the most painful lessons she has learned. But more than that, she will be prepared to be truly honest, without hiding anything, without fear. And it is exactly at that moment that you will have the chance to decide what is best for your future. Always remember your worth. You are an amazing person, with an immense capacity to love and to be loved. Don't let haste or pressure take you off this path. Give time to time, and when this reunion happens, Listen to your heart. Trust your intuition, for it knows what is best for you. The decision you make should be the one that will bring you peace and happiness, and I fully believe in your ability to make that choice with wisdom and love. I'll be here, always rooting for you, trusting in your power to decide what is best for your life, with all the care and respect you deserve. You are strong, and I know you will do what is right for your well-being and your future. Allow your spirit to absorb these words and feel them resonate deeply within you. The universe wishes the best for you and will ensure a positive outcome, no matter what your choice may be. Type, I absorb, receive, and accept my destiny and everything the universe has to offer me. To claim this message and the blessings it contains for yourself. Leave a positive comment for other viewers who may need a boost of positivity in their day. The universe sees this as an act of kindness. Let's uplift each other and create waves of good energy together. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and stay tuned for the important message awaiting you in the next video. May God and the universe illuminate your steps with peace, love, and faith. Amen.